friends, it's Sherry Ricard with the Real Girl Talk podcast. I'm an author, speaker, business leader, and adversity recovery expert. I'm bringing you fabulous guests, lifestyle tips, and a weekly dose of inspiration to help you create a beautiful life. So grateful that you're here. Now let's dive in.
The loss of a loved one is a nearly universal emotional crisis. Unprocessed grief and painful feelings can be buried, leaving you to feel numb. But there is hope. Certified grief counselor, RN, and author Sherry Ricard shares her story of how to cope in her first book, Wake Up Call, A Mother's Grief Journey, after the loss of her 17-year-old son. This book, along with Sherry's other books, are available on Amazon as well as on SherryRicard.com.
Welcome back to Real Girl Talk. Thank you so much for joining me. And today, guys, we're going to be talking about blended families. We're going to be talking about divorce and how to make it work. One thing that I found was when I did a little bit of research, and I didn't actually realize this, but 50% of all marriages end in divorce. And what really surprised me was 60% of second marriages end in divorce, and 73% of third marriages end in divorce. And I really can't help but think that some of that might be contributed to the stresses and challenges of co-parenting after divorce with a new spouse. But today, my guests are incredible. I have my beautiful daughter, Kristina Bovia, and my daughter's husband's ex-wife, Ashely Seale, in my office and studio today. But they are going to tell you how they make it work. And when I tell you they make it work, it is not anything that you've ever seen. And I am trying to get them to co-write a book to really teach this strategy and the steps that they have taken over the last several years to really co-parent and put the kids first. And that's exactly what they do. So I want you to welcome my daughter, Kristina, and Ashely to the show. Thank you, girls, for joining me today.
Yay! Thanks for having us.
Yeah, so I want to start off with a couple of questions, and then I'm going to let you guys kind of take it from here. I know, and I'm just going to put it out there, when my daughter came to me and told me that she really wanted to be with a man that had 2 kids, I told her to run for the hills. Okay. And I know I've told Trey this, but I told her to run for the hills. And it's because I did not want her to be in a situation that I was in. So many of you know that I am on my second marriage. My first marriage, I had Kristina and Bryant, and my second marriage, we had Carson. But when I married Wendell, I really had to let Wendell do a lot of the communication with my ex because we just didn't see eye to eye. We don't see eye to eye. And if we did, we probably wouldn't have gotten divorced. So you can understand when I tell you guys that I told her to run for the hills, although I love my son-in-law dearly. And I am so grateful that he is my son-in-law. That was my initial thought. And Kristina vowed to not repeat a pattern that she had saw in my marriage. And I have to really give her a lot of kudos and blessings and praise because it's not easy, but you guys made it work. So I'm going to start with Kristina. And Kristina, I want you to kind of tell us when you first get into the marriage and you don't have any children of your own, you've never been married before, and you're taking on 2 children. What are the first things that occurred that you thought, yes, I'm going to be able to make this work, or I see some serious challenges? How did it all start when you first met Ashely?
Well, before I met Ashely, to be honest, my first initial reaction when my friend approached me and said, I want you to meet my cousin, asked her about him, and she said that he had 2 kids. And my first initial reaction was, no, thank you. I'm good. But I had this thing inside of me that said, just meet him. Just go meet him, go have a drink. And that's what I did. And we just continued to see each other. So when I got past, the few dates that we had, and we got to the point where it was time to meet the kids and meet his family, I automatically fell in love with his entire family. I loved the kids, and it was really fun. I've always been a kid person. I've babysat since I was 12. I wanted to be a teacher, and I became a teacher. And so like I've always loved kids. So it really wasn't the kids that scared me. It was knowing, what comes with that. When Trey and I first started dating and I met the kids and it started being, us and more, he told me, my ex, Ashely, she said, don't think that you're going to be playing house with my kids. And it scared me.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember that. Yeah.
And it scared me. I was like, oh gosh, she's going to hate me. And I get nervous. I'm a people pleaser. So I didn't want that. So my goal was, I got to make her like me. I'm going to be nice. I'm going to do everything. I'm not going to step on her toes. I'm going to do the right thing. But I loved the kids and I wanted to do things,
Right.
I wanted to send snacks with them for school and I wanted to do those things, but I didn't want to do it without her permission. She's the mom and I'm just not going to do it. You have to know your place as the girlfriend or the stepmom. You have to know who you are. And as much as I would love for them to be mine, they are not. And you just have to accept it.
Well, I guess, and while you're sitting there telling me this, I see your point of view, but I'm also thinking about Ashely in that don't think you're going to come in here and play, house with my kids. And so it really took an initiative on Ashely's part because you were the willing participant, right? So you're the new wife, you're the bonus mom. Took her to actually take the initiative, and that's where I think a lot of times we're missing it. So what was it for you, Ashely? Because at first Kristina obviously appeared to be somewhat of a threat. What was it that you had to let go of in order to accept her and realize that she was actually going to be a bonus to your life and not a hindrance to your life?
For me, my issue was I too, just like y'all's experience. I mean, my mom's married 3 times. My dad's on his second marriage. So I have step brothers. I have, step parents. I've been down this road, and I knew as a child how devastating it was for parents to go back and forth, about whatever the situation was, whether it was holidays or who was going to have more, money or who was going to pay for this. There was always the struggle. So for me, I did not want that. And so whenever somebody new was coming in, it's like, how long are you going to be here? Are you going to be here stability or are y'all just hanging out,
Right. Okay.
And so for me, the turning point was, okay, they're getting married. They're going to live together. They're going to be a family. So now it's time for me to step in and we all need to figure it out, because at the end of the day, my mentality, while I didn't know that was her mentality because I didn't know where she came from, was it's always going to be what is best for the kids, even at my own expense. Because there's been plenty of decisions I've made that have not been in my favor at all. And I've had many tears about it. But at the end of the day, it was always best for the kids.
Right.
So for me, it was honestly knowing that she was going to be a part and then having the ability to look at her not as a threat because Trey and I had already, the divorce was final. We were done. So it wasn't like, there was nobody, she wasn't coming in between our marriage, in other words.
Sure.
The hurt was done. And so for me, it was more about, okay, what is she going to be like with my kids? Is she going to be the eagle stepmother or is she going to be this wonderful, peacemaker?
But did you ever have the only reason why I ask is because I had this. Did you ever have the thoughts of, is she going to be better than me?
Oh my God, yes. And we've actually had that conversation because Kristina, like I just said a minute ago, alpha female, right?
Right.
And so am I.
I don't know where she gets that
from. I can't imagine. But so am I. And so I'm used to being boss. I'm used to running my house. I'm used to running the kids and Trey and everybody. Like, what do you mean this new person's coming in and doing our schedule?
So we got a bunch of type A's trying to,
Yes. So for me, the biggest change for us happened when we would have an issue. We vowed to each other as a family, we will not let it sit. Like we will not have an issue and bury it deep and never talk about it.
Yeah.
We face things head on. And when I tell you shaking and trembling, we face things head on the first couple of times. I mean, it was terrifying.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, but even that, I mean, when you're saying that, you decided to face things head on, because I know in my marriage, my first marriage, begged and pleaded. You know, can we just co-parent? Can we just get along for the sake of the kids? Can we? And it gets to a point to where you're the only person that is hearing the words coming out of your mouth, and you're hitting this brick wall. And that's why I'm turning to you and saying you are the reason, because Kristina was doing all of the trying. You know, she was willing to go in knowing who the biological mom was, knowing that you are the mom of these children, and respecting those boundaries. And I also can't forget about Trey, because Trey allows you guys to co-parent and exist together. And what's amazing to me is the friendship that you guys have formed from an outsider looking in, not me, because I know the relationship, but from a stranger looking in, it's weird. It can
a lot of people think it's weird.
A lot of people think it's weird, or, you know, if I say it's hard to explain sometimes the relationship, because I may say, well, my daughter's friend, Ashely, well, that's London and Blaze's mom, like Trey's ex-wife. And then they immediately think, well, were they friends before?
Yeah.
So how is Ashely accepting of Kristina?
Yeah.
Well, guys, for the record, they didn't know each other.
No, we did not.
They didn't know each other. That's for another show.
Yeah.
Okay. But for the mere sake of someone that is going through a divorce and you're trying to co-parent with your ex, that's one thing. And then you have not just the co-parenting with the ex, you have the challenges of the ex. And Ashely is single. Kristina is obviously married to Trey, and now they have a new child. Their first child. How did that affect you when you found out Trey was going to have another child?
She wanted her half the time, just like she got Blaze in London.
I begged to have 50-50. I still want 50-50 custody, but I'll proudly take the auntie name. We'll call it Auntie Ashy.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you know, I think just to bring back, because we were talking about it earlier and it's something I thought about, but one of the other things, just I'm thinking about people listening and like where I was at the time, it does take healing from your marriage. Like, I will tell you, I went to Kristina and Trey's house and had an all-out therapy session and begged for forgiveness for things I had done. Like, I knew that I could only control myself. I can't control what Trey does. Lord knows I tried for 5.5 years and it was unsuccessful. Okay?
Yeah.
But I could control what I did and what I was going to put to this family. So I went and in front of both of them. I mean, I asked her to be there because I didn't want it to be weird, you know?
Sure.
And I wanted to get off my chest things that probably I'd never really apologized for or took ownership of, and really tried to heal and mend that, because Trey had a lot of anger towards me, rightfully so.
Right.
And so I really think that was a pivotal moment for all of us, because I think Kristina got to see, I'm not here to create conflict. You know, I'm here for the right reasons, for the right, you know, attitudes. Like, this is all for the betterment of the kids. That's it, you know. And if we get a friendship out of it, great. And it wound up, you know, turned out wonderful for us. But But I think that's a big part that a lot of people don't want to do. They don't want to acknowledge what they did because they're so hurt by the other person. But you have to go there. It's like, just take your ownership, and you have to be okay if they don't ever have the same for you.
Wow.
You know?
That's a really good point. So that would be a perfect tip for somebody that's going through this. I mean, to really step up and take ownership. I know while you were talking, I was just thinking what I would have done had my ex made an initiative to come into my home with me and Wendell and take ownership of all of the behaviors and all of the challenges and the heartache that he put me through, then I would have had an opportunity to open up as well. And I'm just thinking, where could that have gone? Could that have possibly mended? So to everyone listening, is huge. Maybe you're the one that needs to take the initiative to go to your ex in front of their new fiance or wife, I wouldn't probably recommend doing it if they're just dating, because again, you don't know where that's going. Like Ashely said, when she saw there was a commitment and they were married, she took a step back and said, okay, it's time. Maybe you are the one that goes in and takes that initiative with your ex. A lot of times we have to swallow all of that pride. And like you said, it's for the sake of the kids, right? So if there's kids involved, but to me, I'm thinking, even if there's not kids involved, why would you not take that step and go to your ex in front of their new spouse, even if you don't have children together, and say,
you could live in close proximity and see each other often,
right,
to where that's necessary.
I'm thinking about just in general taking away the pain, because if they're remarried, and maybe you didn't have children together, maybe your ex-husband has a child with his new wife, and now that pain starts all over again. But had you gone in and done those confessions and made that accountability and those apologies up front, you can go your separate ways peacefully. So I think it's a really good tip. Talking back about Roxanne, now that Roxanne is in the picture, I want you guys to talk a little bit about, because your scheduling is a little unique, and how you accommodate each other. Tell everyone about how you make it work on a day in, day out. You're both working moms.
Yeah.
Okay. How do you make it work? And we'll start with Kristina.
We don't use papers. I mean, we literally go look at month by month, and we say, okay, because Trey's a firefighter, he works 24-hour shifts. So we look at the days that Trey's working. We do have a week on, week off schedule. So they'll be with Ashely one whole week. They'll be with us one whole week, with one day different in the middle. So you don't go a full week without seeing the kids. They do spend the night with you one day out of your week off.
Okay.
So we try and keep to that. It always doesn't work out. And if Trey is working on the one day the kids are supposed to be with us, we'll switch a day. No big deal. And if Ashely has something going on, we'll switch a day. See what works with our schedules, and we just make it work that way.
So you agree to be flexible for the other person. Again, for the sake of the kids.
Correct. Yeah, because they know the schedule. And then they'll even ask, because they know that we flip-flop days sometimes. They'll say, hey, who are we with tonight? And they're curious. They want to know where they're laying their heads.
Right.
They want to know what is going on, and you have to keep them involved. I've put a calendar on the refrigerator so they know where they are going, where they're going to be. And we made an agreement a long time ago when Blaze, 11-ish, when he started being a preteen and he started expressing, hey, can I go to mom's and spend the night? Sure. You have to be okay with letting the kids. And it's not about, if he said, hey, I want to go live with mom, that would be a serious discussion.
Sure.
And I truly don't think he would do that.
Right.
But
because there's dad.
There would be that I don't think that would happen. But some kids might do that, so you really have to take into consideration, yes, you want equal time. Yes, you want the kids all the time. You do, but you have to be fair to the other parent, but you also have to be fair to the kids. And you have to say, if Blaze wants an extra day to spend with his mom, it's okay.
Right. You can't get your feelings hurt
it's
about
not,
it. Right.
And in the beginning, I'm not going to lie. It did hurt Trey's feelings. He was like, why doesn't he want to be with me? It's not you, Trey. It's not that he doesn't want to be with that parent. It's just he feels a little disconnected, or he feels like he needs a one-on-one time, because London will still be at our house and he's going to get a little free time with mom, and he wants that.
Yeah, but I think too, don't you think kids change that according to their age? Because I know I'm just thinking about when I was going through divorce. I mean, you were younger, about 11 or 12 years old. And I know that as you started to get older, you wanted neither one of us. I mean, you got to where you were driving and you just wanted independence, but you also wanted to make the decision. And I know there were several times you wanted to come and stay with Wendell and I, and your dad, that's not the schedule.
Yeah.
And it caused a lot of conflict because you're driving a vehicle. Yeah. Why can't she leave cheerleading practice and go hang out with mom and Wendell? Yeah. Because she has a little brother at this point, that's 3 years old. So why can't you do that? But again, it goes back to the ex being flexible
Right.
and saying, you know what, you want to go hang out with your mom, go hang out with your mom, instead of going, I'm going to win this argument.
It's more about thinking about the child and their needs.
Sure. Right.
Not just their wants, but what are they really truly needing right now? Are they needing a little outlet with their dad? Are they needing to just have some one-on-one time with their mom? What do they need emotionally?
Sure.
And if that's something that you are looking at and you're thinking they need, who cares what you want?
Right.
It's not about what you want. It's about, raising these kids healthy and emotionally healthy.
Mm-hmm.
I think it has helped the fact that Trey let me communicate with Ashely rather than Ashely trying to communicate with him. Because back in the day, if Ashely tried to tell him something, he was like my dad.
Right, you're going to do the opposite.
It was, no, this is the schedule. This is how it's going to be.
Right.
That's how he was.
For the sake of winning.
He trusted me.
Right.
And I told him, I said, let me be the one that talks to Ashely. I've got your best interest at heart, Trey. You know that I'm not going to do anything to hurt you. Let me handle that. And I think that if my dad, would have let go and let my stepmom talk to you and let y'all handle it, now Trey sees. Now Trey has learned that, number one, I rule the house.
Yeah. I don't know where she gets that
either. But two, he sees me and Ashely putting the kids first always. Mm-hmm. So he is so much better. I'll say, we're switching this day. Okay, cool. Blaze is going to go spend the night at Ashely's. Okay, cool. Or whatever it is, he's okay. And Ashely walked in the house the other day and Trey just greeted her like family.
Right. She is family. Right.
I mean, she is family, but you know what I mean? Like it was as if, not like I walked in the house and he kiss me,
but we're not that weird.
Right. Yeah. Not quite that.
Yeah, not to the sister wives yet. Okay,
good. But she walked in and he said, hey, what's up? That would not have happened 7 years ago. That was just not happening.
Yeah, so it's growing pains. I mean, I think you've gone through the growing pains, but you've committed, and you hit something right there when I liked. It was another tip for the listeners when you said, I have a calendar.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the kids, it's not a calendar for you.
Yeah. Well,
you said it's
for Trey too.
Well, yeah, we have to keep a calendar for them. Yeah. For the kids. Yeah. But it is for the kids, and it is they're to make them comfortable, right? So we're meeting them at their comfort level, and where they can go without asking you where I'm going to be next week or Saturday or Sunday. Mm-hmm. And then you hit something when you said he's comfortable enough in coming to you and saying, hey, can I go and stay at mom's? Then what I hit on was he asked the stepmom for permission to leave that environment to go to his mom's. That's huge. Yeah. Because you have to look at not, he wants to go, but what about the respect he just had? He didn't ask his dad.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't call mom and say, get me out of here.
Right. Yeah. Right.
He went to you, the stepmom, with nothing but respect and said, I'd like to go stay with mom. And you, in turn, gave him the respect of understanding. So it just snowballs. I mean, just the love and the respect, those little things make a huge difference. What did you want to add to that, Ashely?
Because that specific issue with Blaze came up, it was ironic it happened at the time it did, because her and I talked, and I was feeling like I had less time with the kids. At the time, Trey was not a firefighter.
Yeah.
He was at home a lot during the day. So they had all summer. She's a teacher. She's off during the summer. So they would be off all day. But I would still have my week, but I have a couple hours in the evening after work. I still got to cook. I still got to do. So I'm not really getting time with them except on the weekends. And so finally, I got to the bottom of it with Blaze, like, hey, what's going on, bud? Is there something going on? I just miss you. And so when I brought that to Kristina's attention, I was like, listen, I know it's kind of an awkward conversation, but I've been feeling that. Obviously, he's now feeling it. We need to adjust this. And so we agreed in the summers, this was again before he was a firefighter, that I would get a couple more days during the summer. So we were able to look at the root of the issue. But if you're constantly worrying about, oh, the papers say this and I have to do it by the papers, and you're never looking at your child and saying, okay, what's causing this reaction all of a sudden? Sometimes there are reasons, sometimes they're not. Sometimes it's because they're a teenager and they change their mind every day. You know,
Wants to play Xbox instead of PlayStation. You know?
Right. But in this scenario, that was the core issue. But you have to be willing to look at that and not be self-serving in that. You know?
Right. I like that not be self-serving, because I think a lot of times we do look at the divorce degree and we say, oh, Fridays is not your day. You know, well, things change.
Right.
People, your ex may even divorce again and remarry. Mm-hmm. And so things change. The kids change. When you are divorced, they could be 3 and 4 years old. And by the time they're 13 and 14 years old, everything in their whole world in life is changing. Therefore, the relationship that they have with you as a parent and a step parent is going to change. Mm-hmm. So it's nothing's going to stay the same.
Right.
But what I like that you guys have done is recognize that, just like when you just said, Ashely, with such respect, that you said, I came to Kristina and said, if I'm feeling it, then he's feeling it. I know there's so much anger out there in the world in the divorce situation, where I see an ex-wife coming to, would be Trey in this fact, their ex-husband. No way would they come to the new wife and say any of this. They would go straight to the man and say, my kid misses me and he's coming with me more often.
Yeah.
And now now you've got the husband, the ex-husband, coming out in defense of, oh no, you're not, the papers say. You took a different approach and went to the woman of the home, who was obviously proven to be a really good influence and value to your children, and say, this is what I'm feeling. Can you help me with this?
Right.
You know, can you help Blaze with this and help me with this?
Vulnerability.
Yeah.
It's not easy to go to someone who you don't know fully. It's not your best friend in the beginning. It takes you literally tearing down your walls and saying, I'm feeling this. And you might not want to say that to even your husband or your best friend or something, but in the situation that we're in, it took a lot of strength and it took a lot of practice for us to get to that point of Ashely saying that to me, or for me telling her something hurt my feelings and let me tell you about it. But we trust each other enough and we know each other enough now, 7 years in, that she's not going to judge me. She's not going to look down her nose at me. I know that she loves me and I love her, and we are going to help each other work through whatever emotions it is we're working through when it comes to the kids.
And you're so much alike in some ways, but yet you're so
we are very
opposite.
Different.
Yeah. You know, Ashely actually wants me to adopt her as my daughter, because she says that we're more alike, that Kristina's not deserving. She just really wants to travel with me. I know what's up, which is fine. But I love the fact that you guys also have gotten to the point to where, and Kristina actually had taught me this, because in the past, I've seen my friends do this, but one thing that Wendell always did, and I see Kristina does it as well, is when the child is having, for instance, a sporting event, Wendell made sure if he wasn't working, he was at Bryant's events. He was in the stand when Kristina at the pep rally at school, you know, he was there watching her. But he always had his place. He wasn't that parent that says, well, that's your child. I got something to do, but you need to go watch your kid play baseball. Right. Wendell made a point to make sure if Kristina had something that she was doing, he was going to watch it if he wasn't working. The same with Bryant. He would even stand way down on the fence line because he didn't want to overstep Joey, who was actually doing instruction, you know, or involved in the baseball game because his son's on first base. Wendell wanted to watch him and support him, but he did it from a distance where Bryant could actually see him. So it was about, I'm here to support you from a distance. And that's where he felt like his place was. Whereas you guys may be sitting next to each other on the front row.
Yeah,
we are.
And you are.
Yeah.
Well, and sometimes I'm there.
Okay.
But what's great is Kristina is screaming, at the basketball game as loud as Ashely's screaming at the basketball game. And I told everybody we ended up at a basketball game. I can't remember if it was London or Blazes in it, and it was hilarious because just our little core knit family took up about 20% of the bleachers because I want you to imagine I've got Trey, my daughter Kristina, Trey's ex-wife, which is the mother to London and Blaze, and then I'm there. So I am Kristina's mom. Ashely's mom is there. Ashely's grandmother is there. My mom shows up, which is the step great grandmother. We took over the bleachers, and I thought it was really cool. I just remember sitting there thinking, I wished I'd have just had this for even a short period of time. I wished as hard as I tried to make it work, that yes, there's maybe things that I could have done to really push through, like you said, really came to them and was very vulnerable and said, listen, I've made some mistakes. I want forgiveness. We need to love one another. Maybe if I'd have pushed that more, in hindsight, I have no idea.
Right.
Wish that could have happened. But I love the unity and you guys both have. So before we wrap up, I want you just together collectively, you had a really good point about the calendar. Really collectively, just a couple of tips. If somebody is struggling, think back how you guys were 5 years ago, 6 years ago, a couple of things that maybe you would have done differently to get it on the road a little quicker. What could you share with somebody that's struggling, wishing they had what you guys have?
My biggest thing that I always go back to is never make the child feel like they can't love the other parent in your home. So I never wanted Blaze or London to think that they couldn't call their mom if they were at our house, if they couldn't tell me a story that happened when they were with their mom. I wanted them to be able to know it's okay to love your mom at your dad's house, because I
love that.
remember being at my dad's house and being on the phone with my mom and my dad telling me, it's my time, not your mom's time. And that hurt. And I never wanted Blaze in London to feel that way. So that was I remind myself of that because I'm not going to lie that there have been times where we're sitting or we're doing something as a family and Ashely will call and she doesn't know what we're doing. She's not trying to interrupt. She's not trying, but I'm not going to say, hey, we're doing something. That's their mom.
Right.
And if she has something to tell them and if she needs to talk to them about something, it's okay.
Right.
It's okay for them to answer the phone. It's okay for them to be like, hey, guess what me and mom did this weekend? I'm so excited for you.
Right.
I wish I was there, but I'm so excited for you. It's okay to love your other parent in that parent's home. So that's the biggest thing that I try and tell people.
I like that. What about you, Ashely?
So I'd say two major things. One, I mean, we can't obviously end this podcast without saying God. I mean, if he had not intervened in our lives, I don't know that our friendship and the level of family and the tight knit that we have now would be even a thing. I mean, I believe that he absolutely has healed wounds. He has mended fences. I mean, he's done all these things.
Have grown so much in your faith.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. 0 to 100 for sure.
Right.
And the second part is kind of on that line is doing the self-work, because for me, a lot of people get stuck on, if this ex would just do this, then everything would be fine. If he would just do this, if she would just do this. And the reality is, until you fix yourself and are willing to be okay with being vulnerable with people, because that takes strength that people don't realize that you have to have.
Sure.
But you have to be a whole person, and you have to be able to give that out in consistency. For us, if people would have known us 7 years ago, people that do know us 7 years ago would look at Trey and I like, y'all actually in the same room? Like, what's happening?
Right.
So for us, that was a huge thing because he saw me consistently, not that one time when I had an apology tour conversation with them, but every day after that, I was consistent. I didn't lose my temper. I didn't go off on him. It was very respectful. Even if he wasn't respectful, I always was in order to keep the peace and to do what was best for the
Boy,
kids.
that takes strength.
Yeah, it does.
Oh, it does. Lots of prayers.
Yeah, that takes strength because I know I tried that and I don't know that I ever was able to make that work. Maybe I gave up too quickly.
Well, there were plenty of times that I wondered why I was being patient or why I was.
And that might be
but
because
it paid off.
you were growing in your faith and,
Yeah.
and you were really relying on your strength that God was giving you to get through it. So that's a good point.
Yeah.
Guys, I appreciate you so much. It took a lot to get these two here, I'll just tell you, because
we're busy.
Yeah, they're busy mamas, but they didn't know that they had so much to share. And I think they'll agree with me that after we have this conversation, we probably could have talked more about more hints and tricks. But I want you guys to follow these two beautiful ladies. I know my daughter right now has started a Facebook group. Kristina, where can they join your Facebook group? And tell everybody a little bit about the living, learning lifestyles and where they can follow you on social media.
So my Facebook group, like you said, is called Living, Learning, and Lifestyles. I started this group because I wanted to be able to share with women and moms just tips and tricks, recipes, what we do as a blended family, and much more than just that. It's more about, hey, I found this really cool shopping deal. Why don't you go check it out? There's so many Facebook mom groups out there. They're really localized. And I wanted something a little bit more broad. I wanted something that's going to hit women in my Tennessee friends, my Florida family, things
You're going
like that.
international, babe.
Right. But I really just want to help women and moms just live their best lives. I want to be able to share my saving deals, and I want to be able to share our just tips that I find, because I feel like I have so much knowledge.
Yeah, you do.
But really, that's the main part of it. And it's Living, Learning, and Lifestyles. It is a private group. It's a simple, quick little email question that you have to answer before you're approved. It's very easy, and you're in. And we do giveaways and all kinds of things like that.
Yeah, and Kristina just had her very first giveaway. She's only had the group opened for a few weeks, maybe not even
2 weeks.
Well, just 2 weeks. And she has hundreds of members, guys. So make sure you go into Facebook, Living, Learning, Lifestyles, and she has amazing tips. It's really going to help you live your best life as a mom, a working mom, a stay-at-home mom, a single mom.
Not a mom.
Not a mom. You don't even have to be a mom.
Yeah, right.
She'll take you into the group. You don't even have to be a mom. You can still get into the group. So make sure you go and check that out. You can also find her at, is it Living, Learning, Lifestyles on Instagram as well?
Yes.
So she has started her Instagram, and that's growing daily. So make sure you check her out there. And Ashely, what have you got going on? Where can we find you?
So I just opened my LLC. It's Profit Max Accounting. I am really geared towards small business, growing your business. I do handle full charge bookkeeping. But I was a single mom. I finished my degree. I had 2 kids, one income, and worked 60 hours a week. They both had 2 sports each. So you can do it. It is possible, and I definitely want to be able to hire on, other single moms that get their accounting degrees and just build the business that way, and hopefully it'll take off. But I'm going to have a website launching soon, and it will be profitmaxaccounting.com.
Profitmaxaccounting.com.
Yes.
Perfect. And where can we find you on Instagram?
I am at Ashely Seale 23.
Spell that for us.
It's Ashely, Ashley, Seale, Seale 23.
Perfect. Thank you, guys. I appreciate y'all being here. And remember to step out of your comfort zone. Try something that you've never tried before. Keep your faith in God. And until we chat next week, have a blessed day.